Hey guys, welcome to There Will Be Xmas. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
I have breaking Star Wars news, Ron.
Alright.
The breaking news is there is no Star Wars news for the first time since like 2014.
That's craziness.
There is, I mean, what the last three episodes, half the show has been Star Wars. I think eventually, I mean, like, we got to the point to where the internet couldn't possibly think of anything else to talk about Star Wars related. So we have like exactly, what is that, 6 topics to talk about today? There was not shit anywhere.
Yeah.
And I scoured through a whole week of Nerdist, looked around, even a little bit on IGN, jack shit to talk about, so I don't even really have to lightning round. We just don't have much to talk about. If we're going to start off with a pretty cool news story in the movies, though. Ron has never seen Blade Runner. We need to correct that. It's not... I probably need to watch it again, because when I first saw it, I was in my teens. I think I'm probably a little too young to really get the gist of it, because it's very dark, it's very adult. I would probably like it a lot more now, so I don't have that kind of like gaga-ness going over the sequel.
Well, it's like one of the greatest sci-fi short stories of all time turned into one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. Like
everyone raves about it.
Everybody at least knows it if they haven't seen it.
Now, it wasn't bad. It was just it didn't hit me like it did a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think the original one came out. It was 34 years ago. I think, if I remember the article right.
Yes, that's what the article says here.
But Harrison Ford, man, bless his heart. He survived that plane crash, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking do every sci-fi thing I ever did again. Because he is coming back. They have added Ryan Gosling to the cast, who I actually really like Ryan Gosling. If you haven't ever caught any of his more serious roles, he's actually a pretty damn good actor.
Not a fan. He's up there with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck for me.
Who you also hate for no reason. So. The script for the sequel, is being developed by... Ridley Scott himself, who I don't think he helped write the original, but he did direct the original, and then one of the co-writers of the original film. And directed by, we gotta get his name, I'm gonna butcher it horribly, but Denis Villeneuve, I think was one of the pronunciations I saw.
Still sounds like an STD to me.
So does Sicario, which is what he directed, and he's most famous for now.
Touché, good sir.
So Blade Runner 2 is slated to start filming in July.
Sicario means hitman. That'd be one hell of an STD.
Dude, you want no part of Del Toro down there, dude. So it's slated to start filming in July. I wouldn't imagine it would take too long to add CGI and stuff in post, because if you've ever seen screenshots of the original, it's very, very... they had some special effects, but it was mostly meant to make it look like a really shitty, bleak future. It wasn't all like all prequel Star Wars style, where it's all CGI. It wasn't Fifth Element. That's a good comparison. It was very, very low key. So I would imagine, and especially with the success of Star Wars, them taking Star Wars back to more practical, I don't think they would add very much.
There's a good chance that they won't, because Ridley Scott, but. Because he's one of the last legendary directors out there that hasn't just gone off and lost his fucking mind yet.
Thank you, Ridley Scott, for not, because everyone else has, it seems. Yeah. It's pretty rough.
But there's always the chance that just because they have the ability to do more now, that they could always try to do something. Just go crazy CGI world all over the place.
I would be more worried about it if it was new writers, but Ridley Scott and the original writer,
yeah. That's why I said there's a good chance they'll keep it true to the original.
Co-screenwriter Hampton Fancher. They have conceived the idea for the sequel.
It just sounds dirty.
There's so much innuendo on Blade Runner 2. So yeah, that starts filming in July. Probably looking at a 2017 release at some point. So I'm looking forward to it. I need to rewatch you need to watch it, and I need to rewatch the original one to get a better appreciation for it.
It sounds like we just need to have another movie day.
Dude, we've actually compiled a list of all the shit we want to watch.
And we've actually done a good job crossing some shit off of it.
Just never.
That's the only list you and I have that we've been crossing shit off.
Yeah, like when's the last time we did a commentary? Like,
I know,
6 months ago, something stupid.
Under the Red Hood, I think.
So I think we did like what, 1 or 2 commentaries, and really we did Game of Thrones. I remember that one.
We did 2 on Game of Thrones. Did we do one on Walking Dead?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. We talked about it.
So we did Hard Home for Game of Thrones in the finale. We did the finale, and then we did Under the Red Hood. And I feel like we're missing one, but we didn't do very many.
Yeah, that's it for the ramble tracks. We have yet to do a rant.
Oh, and that's the one we need to pick something like... You just want to bitch about James Cameron's Avatar for 3 hours? Yeah, looks like we've got one more thing in the movie news, and Ron and I cannot wait for Doctor Strange.
Give me that movie now.
And like this year is ridiculous, but maybe my most anticipated movie. That or Deadpool are the two that
You're goddamn right.
Deadpool's a couple weeks away, and especially after Deadpool, Doctor Strange is the thing I have my eye on. But they very, very strange that... So he must not have like a very big role, but it is a cool casting choice. Wong. I hadn't realized they had not casted Wong yet for that movie.
Yeah, I didn't either.
He has been picked as... I guess they're going method acting because Benedict Wong is playing Wong. And if you are familiar with the name, he played Bruce in The Martian. He had only a few lines in The Martian, but he had one of the cooler roles because he's hilarious in that movie. He does a lot with limited screen time, so that's a really good choice for Wong. He'll be a good probably try to use him as humor. Yeah. In comparison to
Cumberbatch. That's good since he was in The Martian. I mean, that won Golden Globe for Best Comedy.
Yeah, he's had nothing but practice. Watching Matt Damon die is just the funniest fucking thing in the world.
It dies slowly at that. Yeah.
He is living by himself in his own shit. That is funny, dude.
You want to hear the actual representation of what I think of award ceremonies, especially the Ridley Scott Martian Golden Globe thing?
Yeah.
That's the actual representation of what I think of that.
Didn't I show you his reaction to winning the award? He was just like, comedy, and that was that.
Yeah, he kind of passed the award back to someone behind him, and he was like, comedy?
At least I hate the Oscars, but at least they got The Martian right. Yeah. Matt Damon got a Best Actor nomination, which is what he should have gotten at the Golden Globes. Not Best Actor in a Comedy, not Best Actor with an asterisk next to it. Best Actor, because he was fucking awesome in that movie.
Yeah, he was.
And the movie...
I don't even like Matt Damon. He should have gotten something.
Awesome. Yeah. And the movie is not a fucking musical or comedy. That award show is already over and done with, and I'm still just shaking my fucking head over
I do recommend, before we move on, though, whoever is listening, that one person that's out there, hi mom, to go YouTube the Ridley Scott acceptance speech at the Golden Globes, because it's just hilarious all the way through. I fucking love Ridley Scott, dude.
He had "what the fuck is happening" written all over his face.
Not only did he have that, and he started his acceptance speech with comedy, but they did that thing again like they did to Adele years ago, where as soon as he started his speech, they started playing the music that's supposed to be playing as he's walking off. And then he's like, nope, I prepared a speech, I'm going to read it. And then he continues
did he really?
Doing his speech. And then they turn the volume up. And then he's like, nope, screw you. And he keeps reading his speech. Yeah.
Why would you try to dick with Ridley Scott? Like,
I don't know. He's literally to the fuck it stage of his career where he just does whatever he wants.
He's earned the right to do that too. Like,
yeah. So they did that to Adele years ago, and she flipped off the people in the box and kept her thing. Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
I'm not a big Adele fan for music, but I fucking love Adele, dude. I adore Adele.
I really like that video. Have you seen where she's doing the karaoke in the car with
Corden?
That's really, really funny stuff. She's also, I'm not a big fan of her music, but I do appreciate she's actually talented, unlike 99% of everyone else in the music industry now.
So definitely YouTube Ridley Scott and the Adele thing Jeff mentioned, because I heard that's pretty good, but I didn't watch it. She even raps in that, right?
Yeah.
And like I heard she rapped better than the original rapper of the song.
She did Spice Girls better than the Spice Girls did. Yeah, it's good stuff. I like James Corden a lot too.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, we're gonna move over and continue the Marvel theme, but in TV this time. And this was an interesting teaser that it wasn't an actual teaser, but it was
it kind of confirmed something I said to you when we were talking about this.
So Jessica Jones has a pretty active Twitter presence, and they released an image where it was of a file. Did you see the image on this?
I did not. I saw a image on Nerdist, I think, but it was an old image. It wasn't anything new.
The one in question now it was showing her desk, no characters, and it had Cage written on it, and it's upside down, so you had to kind of turn the image to see it, and it said Cage NOV, so it's like Cage November, and that's their tease saying.
That's pretty clever. One thing, you and me talked about Jessica Jones and stuff in a previous podcast and our thoughts and stuff on it. But one thing that you and I know definitely see completely 100% eye to eye on is their marketing campaign.
It was money.
Is fucking fantastic.
And I'm really excited for the Luke Cage show. I like that dude. They could have done a lot more with him, but to be fair, it was Jessica Jones. It wasn't Luke Cage.
Yeah, and he had his own thing coming up. So, but this kind of, the fact that they used Jessica Jones and they used their Jessica Jones marketing campaign strategies kind of confirms something I was talking about when we were talking about the show and our thoughts on it and reviewing it. About when I said, you know how Luke Cage's presence was in Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage, I bet you she has a presence like that, where it's mostly him, but she's there all the time.
She's there for like 3 or 4 episodes, pretty much.
Yeah, that kind of feels like that's what they're doing to me.
And I'm cool that they worked well together. I really liked their fight scenes together. They did a good job with their fight scenes. So looking forward. I have no idea. I have never in my life read a Luke Cage comic. And so, like, with the Jessica Jones thing, I was familiar with the Purple Man storyline. I couldn't tell you a single Luke Cage comic, so it is completely fresh to me. I have no clue what they're doing.
See, I was never that excited about the Luke Cage show because I don't know jack shit about him. Never watched anything, never read anything. I've heard the name here and there, but that's it. But I remember you and me being like, oh, Luke Cage was cool. He was cool when we saw Jessica Jones. But everyone that we listen to in podcast or anything else that has read Luke Cage comics, they're like, they just lost their minds over how good they did Luke Cage and how good the actor
there was a lot of references that if you got it would have been really cool, but you and I it went over our head. I'm sure
Kevin Smith especially I know was losing his mind over how good the actor portrayed
Mark Bernardin
Luke Cage
as well.
And stuff.
Was a big Luke Cage fan. I'm sure Nicolas Cage lost his mind because if you didn't know, that's actually where he gets his last name.
Is it?
If you didn't know, Nicolas Cage is actually his last name's actually Ford Coppola. He's actually the son of the guy who directed The Godfather.
Really?
But he wanted to get out of the shadow of his dad, so he changed his last name to Cage from Luke Cage because he's that big of a comics fan.
I didn't. Yeah, I knew Nick Cage was a huge comics guy. His son written, to be honest.
His son is literally named Kal-El.
Yeah,
he's that batshit for comics. So
I mean, it just that all bodes very well for me for Luke Cage is where I was going with all that.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited. I mean, it's fucking Marvel. Like,
I'm just curious what they're gonna do. So, Daredevil was just as violent as it was is basically what made it kind of R-rated, and how it wasn't just comic book violence, it was fucking real, seemingly real violence. Like, something that would break someone's arm fucking broke their arm bad, and stuff like that. You saw bones popping out left and right. Jessica Jones, they kind of tossed stuff in to make it like kind of shocking but
which actually decreased how much I liked the show because of it.
It bothered you a lot more than it bothered me. I'm just used to it from the shit that I watch, I think. I'm curious if they're going for that kind of tone again with Luke Cage and what they're going to do to achieve it.
I don't think
I mean, it doesn't need it to be good, but it feels like they're going to try to do that with every show.
I don't think it'll be as bad as it was in Jessica Jones because it's a completely different writing team.
Right.
It's not the same showrunner. It's not the same writers. They might have.
At the same time, Jessica Jones is completely different from Daredevil.
But I get the impression this isn't going to be as in like them going out of their way to make damn sure it's R-rated. Like,
yeah.
And then again, I don't know who their showrunner is or their background. I don't know I don't know any of his villains. Like, I mean, could not tell you anything about that character, which is one of the things that makes me interested in it.
Right.
Because everything else in Marvel, even Jessica Jones, I had never read Jessica Jones, but I was very familiar with that comic because it was such a popular run.
Yeah.
And Luke Cage, it will all go over my head, and it could be pretty cool to actually be surprised by what they do.
I just hope that Jessica Jones isn't the first sign that they're going to do things to try to keep an R rating, when really I just want them to focus on the writing of the story and just make a good narrative.
Well, what they should be doing is what I think they're doing with the animated Killing Joke thing.
Yeah.
They haven't said it's rated R because they're just going to make it the best they can and let the rating department decide it for them. That's the approach. What you're saying is what they should do, which we'll see. We will see.
Because it felt like they did Jessica Jones and they're like, oh, we didn't quite hit that R mark. Like
let's throw a blowjob in there because it's completely necessary.
Yeah,
stuff shit like that, which is what they did all over Jessica Jones. Like, painful. It's like, I get it.
You wish you did all over Jessica Jones.
Kristen Ritter, dude. All right, we're gonna move over. I think that's all of the that is all of the comic related shit. It's pretty crazy.
Especially considering this is 2016 and all the comic shit is coming out of
the movies. This next one is an upcoming spinoff as well. I don't think you've ever seen 24, have you?
Nope.
I actually am a really, really big fan of 24. I've seen...
in fact, when's the last time I've seen Kiefer Sutherland? Three Musketeers, maybe? The Disney movie when I was a kid?
24, its seasons are hit or miss. Some of them are way better than others. Some of them are, you can basically skip them. But
basically, it takes place in real time, right?
Which was...
an hour in the show is an hour in real life.
Yeah, each season was 24 episodes, and each season was... the entire day, which was actually, when you think about it, the last kind of interesting, clever twist on TV. Mm-hmm. Everything since, I can't think of another, like...
So, is there like 8 episodes in a row that's just him in bed sleeping?
Well, no, do they, like, every season, some horrible shit is threatening to either blow up Los Angeles, New York, or the world, and they just do not sleep. And what's also interesting is because it's in real time, the actors have to get haircuts every, like, 4 days. Could you imagine getting a haircut every 4 days? But yeah, really, really cool idea. Kiefer Sutherland made the show, which is my problem with their spinoff, is because it's called 24 Legacy. And
at least they're going for spinoff.
And it has no Jack Bauer in it. It has no Kiefer Sutherland.
So where's the legacy?
Which is like, it's about like making a Batman show without Batman. Oh wait, Fox is already fucking doing that. So,
but for some reason, it's money. So you got to give them that.
I'll give him that. But 24 isn't as marketable as Batman.
Yeah.
Or Batman-related stuff.
Batmanless.
They in 24 Legacy have casted their lead. The character's name is Eric Carter. He's going to be played by Corey Hawkins, who is most famous for Straight Outta Compton. I haven't seen it. I wanted to because it seemed interesting, but
I've heard it was actually really good.
I've heard nothing but good things about that movie. He played Dr. Dre in it, and what blew my mind was when I was looking at his IMDb, he plays Heath in The Walking Dead. And if you just look at a picture of him without the hair and the glasses from The Walking Dead as what he looked like in Straight Outta Compton, looked like a completely different dude. Like, it was crazy. Had no idea it was him, but he's a good actor from what I've seen. And if you go back and look, like, from what all we saw from Straight Outta Compton, like, a lot of the good reviews were the performances on them being those like, especially I always liked how it looked like they were having Ice Cube's son portray him. Like, he looked like Ice Cube and was acting like him. He did a good job. So yeah,
to be fair, he's been preparing for that role his whole life.
Yeah, right. So I will probably check it out just because I am a pretty... The last Jack Bauer thing they did like a little mini-series. It was called... God, I cannot remember what it was. But I can't remember the title of it. But the mini-series they did was genuinely pretty damn good. One of their better things they've done. So I will check it out. I am curious, but it is so synonymous with Kiefer Sutherland and Jack Bauer that I don't know how much into it I will get. So it's a bit of a bummer that we're getting 24 without him, but I'm curious to see if it's good. So who knows? Especially with Fox. Fox is hit or miss on, like, even worse. TV is hit or miss. Period. Fox is really, really bad, and even when they hit, they will oftentimes cancel. I was
going to say TV is hit or miss. Fox on their own is hit or miss as it is, and then. If it hits, they cancel it. If it misses, they keep it going.
It's painful.
Yeah.
It's painful. Okay, yeah, speaking of painful, a lot of people are really, really saddened by this, and there's a small group of people, like all of the Moffat haters that exist, and there's a decent amount of them. I don't really get why, but Stephen Moffat, known for being the showrunner for Doctor Who since Matt Smith's run began, is leaving the show.
Yeah.
Sad day.
Very sad day. I don't get the hate for Stephen Moffat, but
there's hate for everybody, so it's just part of the territory.
He was probably my favorite writer on that show.
And 90% of my favorite episodes are Moffat.
And it's interesting wording too. If you read the articles, they say he's stepping down as showrunner. They don't say he's quitting the show.
He will probably stay on in a producer role. He will not be exec, but I bet he will remain as a producer. Mm-hmm. Which, it's sad to see him leave, but how many seasons when he leaves will he have been attached to the show? What was Matt Smith's? Was that 5? So, 5. He did 3 with Matt Smith.
Seasons.
Yeah,
5 to 10.
Well, he would have had... 3 with Matt Smith and then 3 with Capaldi, so he would have done 6. Yeah, that is a good length of time to give it your all to a property, which Doctor Who is very, very cool because it has endless potential, but there's only so much a guy can do with one property. And it's also cool for Stephen Moffat, because like we talked about before, like if he announced he was like moving over to Twilight Zone, I would be all over Stephen Moffat Twilight Zone. He can go in and
that was basically half of his Davies episodes.
He could go in and start writing more films now. I'm sure that's something he's interested in. He's a big name in the industry, so he'll be able to do what he wants. And I'm curious to see what the next guy will do. And it has been announced.
God, dude, what if he got a hold of a Marvel or DC property?
It'd be cool. It sucks that he's leaving, but it is exciting to see what he'll do next. But his replacement, he announced, was also probably fucking up his name, but we looked it up, and it appeared to be Chris Chibnall.
Yes.
And do you have some of his episodes he's done?
Yeah, well, first I just want to point out that what he's known for, he has written 6 episodes of Doctor Who, which we'll go into which ones here in a second, but I think I might have even heard he was even the creator, let alone one of the big writers. Yeah, it says right here, creator, Broadchurch.
Yeah, he's a creator and showrunner of Broadchurch.
So keep that in mind.
Which is good. If I don't think you've seen it, but I've seen season 1 and I really liked it.
No, but I know the tone of it. And that's why I was going to say to keep in mind Broadchurch, because we may see how Doctor Who's going to transform just through that in the episodes that he wrote. One of our favorite episodes from season 3, David Tennant episode, called 42. He's got 42 minutes to save everyone that's going on and everything that's going on.
Good
what's
one.
happening. Damn good episode. The Hungry Earth and Cold Blood, when they introduced the reptile people. He wrote those. Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, one of the cooler ones that they did. That was a one-off. And The Power of Three...
Which was an Amy and Rory one, right?
Yes, it was the little black cubes.
Yeah.
They even had the Brian Cox cameo. That blew my mind. Hold on, IMDb's screwing up. Then The Magician's Apprentice, which is the Ashilda Arya one.
Yeah, that was he has a good what we talked about recently when we were talking about the other guy we were talking as a potential replacement, Toby Woodhouse, I think was his name.
Yes.
If you compare...
I'm sorry, while we're still on his writing credits, 8 episodes of Torchwood, and several of them were the coolest episodes they ever did.
Now, the one he did with Arya's character, was it the first one or the second one?
The Magician's Apprentice... I don't know, let me look. Well, it's episode 1. It's just 1. I don't know, let me see. Season 9, episode 1.
Oh, that would have been one of the Davros ones.
That's the Davros one, then.
Okay.
Why is your picture of this episode Ashilda?
Because...
this is the one that has one of your favorite lines.
So did he write that with Moffat?
He wrote it with Moffat.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has good credits going as far as showing the vastness of tone, because you were talking about how like a lot of the Torchwood episodes he did were very dark.
Yes.
And he also did like some of he did some Doctor Who episodes which are more lighthearted, like the dinosaurs on a spaceship one. If you can go from,
I'm sorry, I just laughed because I'm on IMDb, and you know the snake guy in those episodes that's hunting down the Doctor, and he falls apart into a bunch of snakes and stuff, and he calls him a snake's nest in a robe or something. The actor that plays that part, that's his picture on IMDb, is him as the snake guy.
Oh, that's pretty badass. I would want that to be my picture too.
Sorry. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, he because that's one of the most important things that made Moffat as good as he was at what he did, because he could go turn around and make you cry, or he'd turn around and scare you until you cry.
Or he could make you laugh.
Yeah, you have to be able with Doctor Who to be able to hit on all cylinders, on all types of genres, and all types of emotions you wanted to elicit out of the viewer. And it looks like he could do that. Also, he has run a TV show, because Broadchurch was a perfectly well-made TV show that had good pacing, had good acting. He worked with David Tennant on that too. Maybe he has a relationship where he can bring him back for another kind of movie
and
type.
What I'm curious about what that's going to do to Doctor Who is Moffat. Look at Matt Smith versus Benedict Cumberbatch in Sherlock. I mean, he basically put Sherlock Holmes in the TARDIS. So I'm pretty curious after Broadchurch and how dark some of the... I mean, Torchwood is very opposite in tone to Doctor Who anyway. Doctor Who, I imagine, will still stay kind of lighthearted like it is now. I mean, that's kind of what it's known for. It's a family show. Little kids watch it and stuff. But I feel like either the Doctor himself or the tone of it or something is going to change to mirror more like Broadchurch, the way Matt Smith mirrored Sherlock.
Okay, so I don't think we mentioned Stephen Moffat will be back for one more season.
Yes.
With Capaldi, and Capaldi has also talked about leaving, so I think this is going to be just like it happened with Tennant and Davies. They'll leave together, and they have pushed back the release of this season, the last Capaldi and Moffat season, so we have a Christmas special in 2016, but that's it, and then the season starts in 2017. We have both been on record of saying we're about 98% sure the next Doctor will be a woman.
Yep.
If the next companion is a male, it's a lock. It's 100%, because that's tipping their hat.
And they said that we would have the next companion before the next season, but they wouldn't promise if it was in the Christmas special or not. Well, we're only getting the Christmas special before the season.
Do you think they'll have the companion in the Christmas special or no?
I think they will. I think that'll be when he meets him.
To the companion.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's crazy that it's. I mean, it's a little bit depressing. Like, more depressing, I think, than that Moffat is leaving is the fact that we just have like a whole year before we see more Doctor Who.
And it gets worse.
So. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, because Stephen Moffat has become synonymous for. I mean, if you like him or not, he is synonymous with the show now. So
yes,
it's very exciting to see what the new guy will do. Very exciting. We will be getting a new Doctor sooner rather than later. Although it is sad, because I have really, really liked Capaldi, especially since that last season. He was so good.
Season 9, he was
so good,
he was so fantastic.
Is there anything else you wanted to add to Doctor Who before we move on?
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to add even the more sad news to it. So, basically my first reaction was, well, it fucking sucks that I get no new Doctor Who until Christmas. That's a full year of no Doctor Who, but, at least I can marathon back through 1 through 8, possibly season 9 even.
What?
Yeah. February 1st. They are gone from Netflix for a little while.
What the fucking fuck, dude?
I'm assuming...
How did Netflix allow this to happen?
I don't know.
You have to think that's one of their most popular shows, because like you or me, we'll just go back and pick an episode at random and watch it again, even though we've all watched them multiple times.
Yep, so... Obviously, their contract is up. It was about this time that I was looking for it last year, and it wasn't there. So I'm assuming after... Probably in fall... is when season 8 was added. So I'm going to guess they'll probably wait until season 9
and
can
throw
be
it all
added
back together
and throw it all back up together. So it'll probably be fall before it's back on Netflix is my prediction.
Balls.
So, yeah.
Disappointed!
Lame.
Very lame.
So, with Doctor Who, It will be a long, long, depressing wait.
I wanted to see the Christmas special again, dude. I wanted to cry the first time I saw it, and I deleted it from my DVR.
Noob.
Yeah.
How could you not possibly predict that Netflix would be assholes?
At least, though, I have satellite, so I'm probably just going to set my DVR to just record every episode that plays and see what I get.
They should be... You would think that the networks with the rights to it even a little bit would be jumping all over the opportunity. Just like throw it all out there for you to record.
They play on BBC America all the time. That's how my dad sees them.
So what's your dad... Has he been watching... He hasn't been watching them on Netflix, has he?
Nope.
So he's just like, well... I'll just keep watching them out of order on TV.
I'll be like, why the fuck are you watching that? He watched Angels in Manhattan, and I was like, why did you do that?
He's watching them like people watch the old PBS ones where they just threw them up randomly.
And his response is always, well, it was on, so I recorded it. And I'm like, you have Netflix. You have access to all 8 seasons in order.
Had.
Well, he still does. It ain't February yet.
Yeah, he's got, 4 days to watch the entire show. He can do that. I'm sure people have done that because, Jesus. Like,
that's about what I did.
Yeah, you were pretty bad about it. I don't know how you... Well, the reason you're able to remember it so well is because you've done that like 7 times. But I binged them pretty hardcore too, and I did a couple of years ago, and it's just gone. I remember, like, you talked about shit where I was just like, I don't fucking remember that happening, dude. All right, we've got one more thing to talk about before we head on out for the day, and that is... We have one gaming story, and this is
the only gaming story that matters.
We are on record as being all over Platinum's nutsack.
Yes.
Because, I mean, just watch Transformers Devastation videos, and it's just me and Ron just, like, having a seizure of awesomeness. So they released, in the last week or so, didn't, like, images leak that we talked about, I think? It was, like, screenshots.
Yes. This game did not exist officially, yet we always heard news about it, and we got screenshots. Yeah, I think, like you said, just last week. I think we even talked about them. I don't remember, though. It might have been after we recorded.
I think we did talk about it on the podcast.
Okay.
And yeah, because you remember we talked about how it was like. I think you said it was like taking it right off the page.
Yes.
I think that was something we talked about.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like the worst kept secret in gaming, basically. Because I mean, there's fucking screenshots. Obviously, it's happening.
It was the Suicide Squad of gaming.
So what they did is they owned up to it, and they released this week the game's official title. Which I
don't think they owned up to it. I think they released a schedule because it's a full 1.5-minute long trailer.
Yeah, the title of the game will be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants in Manhattan. Cool title. I
really
like it.
Cool title.
And they released their fuck off trailer, which was fucking amazing.
Oh god, I've watched that trailer like 5 times now. I'm not even joking.
It is very similar to the art style of Transformers Devastation, but the tweak in Transformers, they made it look so much like the old cartoon. In that they tweaked it more in this to make it look more comic booky, which made it look very, very cool.
One thing that you pointed out makes me wonder about the tone of the story in it, because we're talking about how the environment and the characters and everything in it looks a lot like is designed a lot like the cartoon, but it has kind of a comic book look to it. But you even point out the turtles themselves look slightly more like the comic book than they do the cartoon version. And Transformers Devastation, the tone and everything about it, and the plot line and everything about it, you could say was identical to G1 cartoon. I'm just wondering, since the comics are a little bit darker, if that means they just went with the aesthetics of the comic, or if they're going to be mixing a bit of the tone of the cartoon and the comic together.
What I think is going to be...
Because when you get a look at Shredder... that is not the Shredder from the cartoon that I remember. That was fucking terrifying.
What I think is going to be kind of a blend. The original comic it's based off was actually...
It's not kids.
It was... I don't know if they had an official rating system for comics in place yet, but it was the equivalent of being rated R in a comic book. Yeah. It was very, very dark. It was actually a parody of, ninja movies. It was like... It didn't originally, it became one of the most marketable kids properties of all time, but it wasn't written that way. It wasn't written that way.
Yeah.
Eastman and Laird, I think, are the names of the guys who created it for the comic. So, what I think is it's not going to be rated R, and it's not going to be kiddie. It's going to be like a PG-13 Turtles thing.
Yeah.
Now,
I've probably PG-13. Because right now, you got to remember, it's still going on Nickelodeon. They have a cartoon on there, so there'll be a lot of kids buying it. I'm sure they know that.
How much was Transformers Devastation when it came out first? Was it $50?
I think it was $50. It wasn't a full $60.
It wasn't a full $60. I don't think this one will be either. I'm expecting this one to probably be about the same time frame. I think it was between 4.5 to like 7 hours for Devastation for the Transformers game. I bet that's roughly what this is. So I bet
so too.
I'm thinking this will be 40
especially
or 50.
to be so quick after Devastation. Now we got some gameplay and some cinematic stuff in the trailer, but it was kind of a fast-paced trailer. But the little tidbits that we got of the characters here and there, I would say it's going to be just as awesome as Transformers was. Because one of the things that made that game so awesome in Transformers, it wasn't just the gameplay, it wasn't the aesthetics, but the plot line was something right along the lines of every episode of the cartoon. It was very similar plot line. Like, they didn't take it from the cartoon, but the tone of it and the way it progressed and stuff felt a lot like the cartoon. And they got the characters spot on. Like, you could tell they went back to every single episode and went through every little detail of every little episode and put all of that into the game. And the little bit that we got of Raphael, the little bit that we got of Michelangelo in it, some of that, it and Shredder and stuff, it felt like they did that.
They even had Bebop and Rocksteady too in it.
Yeah,
which
they did.
Cool.
So, and they had Bebop making bad puns at the end again. Like, it feels like Transformers all over again with Turtles.
It is depressing.
They're the anti-Michael Bay.
It is depressing how much that Platinum is knocking it out of the park with the games, and then like for the movies, they just can't for the life of them adapt anything.
No, they can't.
From it seems like the 80s or 90s are just like a wasteland of movie adaptation. Like, Hollywood has no fucking idea how to adapt any of it, and it's depressing. At least with some of the games. I mean, even like with Transformers, it wasn't as good as Devastation looked like, but those like War for Cybertron games looked pretty cool too. Like, a lot better than the Michael Bay movies.
I played the demos and stuff, and they were pretty fun. I never got around to playing the actual game. I guess a lot of people didn't.
It'd be nice if Hollywood would pay attention to the reception to like Devastation and like this turtle one, and to see like if you just like don't go out of your way to shit all over like Michael Bay does. Yeah. Like, the positive reception garners a lot of goodwill. You're talking about it right now. When's the last time we talked about like being excited for fucking Turtles as far as the movies?
Long time.
Like it's been. I mean, now you said that the animated TMNT one was actually pretty good. So when that's been several years, right? So that's
let me look up exactly when, but I was blown away.
2007 or something. Like, it's been a while. So because they
2007
they did that one.
Chris Evans
was in it.
Patrick Stewart, Chris Evans.
Who was
Sarah Michelle Gellar, Kevin Smith.
Who was Chris
Lawrence
Evans
Fishburne. Holy fuck. I've never looked up who was in it. James Arnold Taylor. Nolan North.
Really?
John DiMaggio. Bender.
Chris Evans was Casey Jones. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he was Casey. Mako was Splinter, of course. Patrick Stewart. I'm not sure who Winters was. That might be the villain. I don't remember. Sarah Michelle Gellar was April. Lawrence Fishburne narrated. The diner cook was Kevin Smith. That makes sense. Nolan North was Raphael.
They had a damn good cast for that.
Yeah, Michelangelo. Michelangelo was a guy named Mikey Kelly. Mikey did Mikey. Wow. James Arnold Taylor was Leonardo. He was a damn good Leonardo. Leonardo's my favorite. Yeah, that movie blew me away because I was like, oh, cool. Turtle movie. Looks like a fairly serious one. It didn't look like, little kid oriented, but it still looks like about the tone of the cartoon. I'll check it out. My mom was a big fan of the Turtles. She watched them with me when I was a kid and everything, so we went together. It fucking is what Turtles 3 should be. It makes references to the first two movies, and the plot line is the fallout of the first two movies, and they just pretend like Turtles in Time never happened.
Yeah, well,
and it's the direct sequel to.
How did Turtles in Time happen? Like, did they just like get like the best weed you've ever seen and just like, dude, bro, the Turtles need to go back to the 1800s, bro? Like,
yeah.
It is so out of left. Like when I watched it, I was like 3, so obviously it's over my head. But looking back, like what the fuck? Like
I don't know.
It was like the Turtle Legends of Tomorrow, like out of nowhere. Like,
but everything changed in that, so you could tell no one from the other 2 movies were on board. Like everything in that movie was complete. Even the costumes were completely different.
It's so weird.
But yeah, dude. Yeah, you are definitely gonna check that out. But that 2007 is the last time I was excited for anything Turtles.
I actually did watch the first live action movie, and it was pretty terrible. It wasn't Transformers 2 bad, but it was bad. And it was pretty, like, I love the Turtles, but I don't love them as much to get, like, pissed off about it as you would. So you would have a brain aneurysm if you watched it.
My parents' attic is full of Power Rangers toys, Turtles toys, Transformers, and some He-Man.
Mine's all Power Rangers.
I was an 80s kid. So.
Power Rangers, Batman, and Spider-Man was also, because of those are the 2 big cartoons I was into. Turtles, Batman, Spider-Man, that was most of my stuff.
As a kid, I was never that happy with the Spider-Man toys, because I'm always like, Mom, why the fuck does he have a motorcycle?
Yeah, you're right. With Batman, they were awful about that. I actually had a toy that was Batman on a horse. It's like, what the fucking hell? You have the Batmobile.
You had the Batcopter, the Batmobile, the Batcycle, the Batboat, the Bathorse.
No, I mean, like, obviously he uses a horse in Dark Knight Returns, but a fucking EMP knocked out the city, so I just had a random Batman on a horse toy. Swear to God, that was a thing. Like, the 90s, like, it was like...
There's like a Spider-Man helicopter, and I'm like, when and how, and where did he get the money? Like, that's kind of his whole thing, right? He's a struggling photographer.
He can't afford rent, but god damn it, dude, he's got a helicopter.
If he'd cut back on the helicopters.
If only. Aunt May could eat dinner if he would cut back on the helicopters.
That's where her Social Security checks have been going. Dude.
No, the toys of the 90s, good times. Like,
my God.
We wasted so much money on such garbage.
At least the Power Rangers with the motorcycles, they had them in like 4 episodes on TV.
Yeah, true. They could get away with it more than that stuff.
I mean, they were only there to sell those toys, but at least they were on the fucking show.
They were also fascinated with, I think they were trying to attract like the thing in your brain that is attracted to shininess. But do you also remember they had a ton of like silver chrome versions of the toys? I guess it's like trying to attract the 3-year-old brain, like, oh, I want that shiny. Like, I swear to God, that is the marketing technique.
The sea bass reflex.
Basically, yeah. I think that is going to be a wrap up to our episode this week. We have 2 episodes sub 45 minutes, Ron. That's fucking impressive.
That's very impressive.
That is insane for us. That's like the last 2 episodes have been sub 45, and I think that's probably shorter than the other one before that, like just combined as a comparison.
Probably.
So it's pretty crazy. We've been doing
definitely
better.
Shorter than our 2015 wrap up.
Oh God,
it was like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something.
Ron, let me tell you why you're wrong about Star Wars for 3.5 hours. All right. If you would like to check us out more, make sure and like and subscribe while you're on YouTube, because we upload all of our content there, all of our Let's Plays, all of our podcasts, all of our commentaries that happen biannually. Also, check us out on social media. We will not spam your news feed, I promise.
The only thing we posted in like the last 2 or 3 weeks was Netflix coming and going lists.
And just probably a little cry face emoji with it or something. Twitter at TWBE Podcast and Facebook.com/TWBE Podcasts. And I think we're going to go play some Dark Souls, Ron.
Fuck yeah.
I'm feeling like some Dark... We might be finishing Dark Souls. I'm sad about this.
But first, we're watching the Turtles trailer again.
Yeah, we definitely. You and Tim Manhattan, bro.